Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Homage to our most venerable teacher Bhante, our Pinmat Loku Swamin Mahanse. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya. Meritorious disciples and children. Today also we are here to learn, to talk about our great being, the Supreme Buddha. If you remember in our last episode, we were talking about a beautiful discourse. Do you remember the name of the discourse we talked, available in Acharya Manuso or the Buddha, the marvelous sage? Our Lokasami Namaste. There was. Yes, Hiro?
We learned about the two yakas named Satangira and Hemavata.
Very good. Satagira and Hemavata. The name of the sutta we talked last episode was Hemavata Sutta. That was a beautiful discourse about the Supreme Buddha and his teaching. They were talking about the Supreme Buddha. They were really happy about the Buddha. By listening to the beautiful discourse, beautiful explanation about the Supreme Buddha, someone was really happy and she was fortunate to understand the Noble Truth, the first stage of the Noble Truth, Sotapanna. Do you remember the name of that meritorious woman? Listening to Satagira and Hemavata talking about Buddha being in the sky, Dehan, she was fortunate to understand the Noble Truths. Yes, Hiru.
Kali.
That was Kali. Kali was fortunate. Kuraragara Kali. Beautiful. And then that was the second discourse actually from the Supreme Buddha, but not to the human beings, to the Devas or to Yakas. Hemavata Sutta. But normally we learn the second discourse of the Supreme Buddha is as the Anatma Lakkana Sutta or Ananta Lakkana Sutta. We know that the Ananta Lakkana Sutta is the second discourse of the Supreme Buddha. That's what we have learned, right? It's not wrong. It's not wrong, everybody, because Anatma Lakkana Sutta is the second discourse what the Supreme Buddha preached to the human beings. That's true. But actually, the second discourse of the Supreme Buddha was Hemavata Sutta, and Anatma Lakkana Sutta is the third discourse thing, right? That's how we want to remember this, the information. So, Anatma Lakkana Sutta is the discourse what the Buddha explained about this, the reality of this life. It is a deep explanation, it's a deep discourse, all about this life, all about this, the journey that we have in the samsara, all about the suffering. By listening to that discourse, the Buddha preached this discourse to the same Bhantes, same monks. Do you remember? Those are the 5 monks. Do you remember the names of the 5 monks? The Buddha preached the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Sandesh, who were the 5 monks or Panchvagiya bhikkhus?
Kondanya, Vappa, Mahanama, Assaji.
Yes.
Kondanya, Vappa, Badya, and Mahanama Assaji.
Yes, very good. Those are the 5 monks or Panchavagiya bhikkhus. The Buddha preached the second discourse, Anatma Lakkana Sutta, to the same group of Bhantes, 5 monks. And then by listening to this discourse, all these five bandhas, Kondanya, Vappa, Badhya, Mahanama, Asuji, all these five bandhas were very fortunate to understand the Four Noble Truths fully, which means they became arahants. They completed their understanding, they realized, and then they were fortunate to be free from suffering in the samsara. So this is the discourse that we learned today in our program. Okay, you might meet some deep words or some unknown words in this discourse, some unknown or hard to understand, difficult to understand, some information, but don't worry about it. Okay, this is about five aggregates of clinging. We will talk five aggregates of clinging, which means this life, the nature of this life. And the Buddha wanted us to understand this nature of this life and to let go of this suffering, which means to release from this suffering. We just need to understand and let go of the desire to this life, which is like the information that the Buddha explains in the sutta. Anyways, we will go to the sutta. If I share my screen with you. Ananta Lakkana Sutta or Anatma Lakkana Sutta. Maybe you will hear this word in that way too. Ananta Lakkana Sutta or Anatma Lakkana Sutta. Maybe in some books you might see that this sutta is called Panchavaggiya Sutta as well. Panchavaggiya Sutta. Because this sutta was preached to the Panchavaggiya bhikkhus, 5 monks. See the beautiful picture. The Buddha is preaching. He has the gesture of preaching gesture. And this is Kondanya. He understood the Four Noble Truths like the first stage. He became Sotapanna, stream entrant. In this beautiful Bhante. So they are very excited to learn about the nature of this life. The monks of the group of 5 attain arahantship by this sutta. The first chance is um, given to Pagoda early morning today.
Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Benares in the deer park at Isipatan. There the Blessed One addressed the bhikkhus, a group of 5 thus. Bhikkhus, Venerable Sir. Those bhikkhus replied, the Blessed One said this.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. In the same place, in the same Isipatana, to the same Bhantes. He is speaking the Anatma Lakkana Sutta. The second chance is to don't worry about the new words, Pute. Yasandu. Amarasinghe is from Yasandu is from
I'm from Sri Lanka.
very good, Pute. Can you read this?
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Bhikkhus. Form is non-self. For if bhikkhus form were self, this form would not lead to affliction, and it would be possible to have it of form. Let my form be thus, let my form not be thus. But because form is non-self, form leads to affliction, and it is not possible to have it of form. Let my form be thus, let my form not be thus.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for the beautiful reading. Okay, I have one word to explain in here. Form. That's the first word we learn from this Anatma Lakkana Sutta. Form is not anything else. it is, everyone, the body. The body made out of great elements, four great elements. Okay, you will learn about great elements later, maybe when you grow up sometimes. Form. In simple words, if I explain, form is this body. Form is this body. Okay, this physical body. Because, dear monk, form is non-self. The second word you learn here is non-self. Non-self means it is not under your control. It is not under my control. I cannot control my body when it gets sick, when it gets old, when it dies, when it changes. It's not under my control. I cannot stop it. That's what the non-self means. You understand that? It's really clear now because form is non-self, which means this body is not under our control. It changes. It's impermanent. Or if because form were self, if I explain that, if this body is under your control, if you can control, if you can stop, when it happens to this body, something happens to your body, this form would not lead to affliction. You have no problem. Do you understand that? You have no problem because you can control. You cannot get old. You can stop getting old. You can stop getting sick, because the body is under your control. But and it would be possible to have it of form, let my form be thus, let my form not be thus. Oh, I like I like to have my body this way. I don't like to have this body that way. I like to be beautiful, I like to be attractive, I like to be healthy. I like my body this way, that way, and I don't like that way, right? We became female people, we became male people. That's how we were born. But we cannot change it now because it's not under our control. You got it? And the Buddha explains to these five bhantes, but because form is non-self, you understand that this body is non-self. It is not under your control. Form leads to affliction. We have problem. We face many problems because the body is not under our control, and it is not possible to have it of form. Let my form be thus. I like my body be to have like this. We cannot have that. Let my form not be thus. I don't like to have this body that way. We cannot have that. You understand the basic meaning of this? Huh? Good. If you do not understand, everyone, don't worry about this. I want you to keep this in your mind. Form in Pali, Rupa. 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 That's it. And we go to the second part of the sutta. Goes to, all right, hero.
Feeling is not self. For if, because feeling were self, this feeling would not lead to affliction, and it would be possible to have it a feeling. Let my feeling be thus. Let my feeling not be thus. But because feeling is non-self, feeling leads to affliction, and it is not possible to have it a feeling. Let my feeling be thus. Let my feeling not be thus.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Feeling. Feeling. In Pali, you know this word? Vedana. Vedana. In my language, in Sinhalese, Vedana is like we have some pain or we have some we my hand hurts, my head hurts, or something like that. But feeling has three aspects: pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, and neutral feelings. Huh? Okay, we will go ahead. Feeling is non-self. Feeling is also not under your control, right? Feeling like you cannot control. Um, if you like maybe chocolate, for example, you cannot eat lots of chocolate because when you eat chocolate again and again and again, maybe you will not like it. You don't like it to eat like that, but maybe the best food you have, you cannot eat it a lot. Why? The feeling is not under your control. You get sick, maybe you throw up. Huh? We cannot do that. So that's why the Buddha explains to five monks, mm, feeling were self, thus feeling would not lead to affliction. So that's why we suffer about the feelings. Sometimes you have painful feelings, huh? And then Buddha explains that because the feeling is non-self, you cannot control, feeling leads to affliction. That's why we suffer. This is about the feelings, okay? Feelings again in Pali, Vedana. Vedana. Next task goes to Senila. Senila, um, camera is not
Am
on.
I someone's
Camera is
perception?
on.
Perception is non-self. For if bhikkhus' perception were self, this perception would not lead to fiction, and it would be possible to have it for perceptions. Let my perception be thus. Let my perception not be thus. But because perception is non-self, perception leads to affliction, and it is not possible to have it of perception. Let my perception be thus. Let my perception not be thus.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for the reading. So perception in Pali, Sanya, or maybe your identification, you identify. How do you understand? How do you identify? Maybe when you eat something sweet, you know that I'm eating sweet. When you eat something sour, you know that I eat sour. This is red, this is black, this is white, or something like that. Your perception. Okay? And then Rupa, Vedana, Sanya. The third one is Sanya. Because the Sanya is not under my control, we, we suffer for that. That's what the Buddha explains to five monks uh, about feelings, about perception. And then the next one, no, uh, next, next is volitional formations. Volitional formations are the karma, or maybe the arranging of karma. Goes to Linda.
Oh, sorry, Monty. Volitional formations are non-self. For if, because volitional formations were self, these volitional formations would not lead to affliction, and it would be possible to have it of volitional formations. Let my volitional formations be thus. Let my volitional formations not be thus. But because volitional formations are non-self, volitional formations lead to affliction, and it is not possible to have it of volitional formations. Let my volitional formations be thus. Let my volitional formations not be thus. So,
Again, volitional formations are the thoughts we have, right? Over the time, we don't know about the future thoughts that we have in our mind. Huh? It's not because of the thoughts we collect karma, good, bad, or anything. Volitional formations are not under my control. That's why we suffer. That's why we have this. That's why we collect bad karma too, and we suffer for that. Okay, the next chance goes to Kevin and Laura. This is about the vijnana or consciousness. Are you ready, Kevin and Laura?
My Swami Mahansa. Consciousness is non-self. For if, bhikkhus, consciousness were self, this consciousness would not lead to affliction, and would be possible to have it of consciousness. Let my consciousness be thus. Let my consciousness not be thus. Because consciousness is non-self, consciousness leads to affection, and it is not possible to have it of consciousness. Let my consciousness be thus. Let my consciousness not be thus.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. It's beautiful. Thank you. So again, we learned 5 things. Rupa, form. Vedana, feeling. Sanya, perception. Sanskara, volitional formations. Vijnana, consciousness. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. These 5 aggregates of feeling are not under my control. That's why we suffer. This is the basic explanation from the Supreme Buddha to 5 months. Okay, Kemit, your chance to read the next part. This is about the next. Yeah.
What do you think, because is form permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this is I am, this is myself. No, Venerable Sir.
Sadhu, sadhu. That's very clear, Pute. What do you think, because the form is permanent or impermanent? This body is permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. If it is impermanent, it is suffering. Suffering, Venerable Sir. If it is suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded as this is mine, this I am, this is myself. This is mine. If it is suffering, we cannot think that, oh, this is mine and this is suffering only. I cannot say that. It's not suitable to say, this is mine or I need it. No, because it's suffering. No, Venerable Sir. The form is not like that. The next chance goes to Aga.
Is feeling permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this is I am, this is myself? No, Venerable Sir.
No, Venerable Sir. Thank you for beautiful reading. So the feeling is not okay, because it's impermanent. You understand. What about the next chance to Peter? It's about perception.
Is perception permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this I am, this is myself. No, Venerable Sir.
Sadhu, sadhu. See, it's a beautiful conversation between the Supreme Buddha and the 5 months. This is permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. It's clear. Okay, Imaj and Shivan, your chance. See this the beautiful the statue of the Supreme Mother?
Are volitional formations permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this I am, this is myself. No, Venerable Sir.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Volitional formations again, arranging. Oh, you can say that it's the thought. Okay? Permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. Next that was to Dehan.
Is consciousness permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this is I am, this is myself. No, Venerable Sir.
Sadhu, sadhu. It's the same thing, huh? Consciousness. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. Vijnana is not permanent. It's suffering. So that we cannot say this is mine, myself, or under my control. That's what it means. Devindu?
Therefore, bhikkhus, any kind of form whatsoever, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, all form should be seen as it really is, with a correct wisdom thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for your reading. So again, the Buddha explains about this form, the body, whatever, whether past, maybe in our previous lives, maybe in the entire samsara, or in the future. Maybe in the future, maybe in the heavenly world, or present, like now. Internal, yourself, external, or someone else. Gross, or subtle, maybe the gross like we have the body, or subtle like the devas or something, inferior or superior, whatever, far or near, all form should be seen as it really is with correct wisdom. You should have that wisdom to see the form like wherever, however, like this is not mine because it's suffering, huh? This is not, this I am not. And this is not myself, this is not under my control. Because sometimes you might be wondering like, oh, this is so deep Dhamma. This is a very deep information about the Dhamma. Yes, it's deep because this Dhamma led them to understand the correct understanding, the perfect understanding, to be free from the samsara. They had the full enlightenment, like to become the arahantship, huh? That's what the Buddha explained. It's deep. Yes, it's deep. Okay. We will talk about the feelings next. How the Buddha gave the advice. Sandesh, your chance.
Any kind of feeling whatsoever, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, all form should be seen as it really is, with correct wisdom. Thus, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself.
Sadhu, sadhu. The Buddha said the same thing to the feelings too, because it's suffering, but again, it's subject to change. So this is not mine. This I am not, and this is not myself. This is about the second thing, Vedana or feeling. Chaya, your chance next.
Any kind,
Chaya
yeah.
is from Sri Lanka?
From Canada, Toronto, Canada.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Any kind of perception whatsoever, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, all form should be seen as it really is with correct wisdom thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for the beautiful reading. The third one is Sanya or perception. So the Buddha gave the same advice to the Bhantes to see the perception as he explained previously. We will talk about the volitional formations next time. Again, Linda, your chance.
Momatimbante, any kind of volitional formations whatsoever, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, all volitional formations should be seen as it really is with correct wisdom. Thus, this is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much.
Moment.
Okay, Bessie, feelings. Good. Perception. Yeah. And then consciousness. Aga, your chance. Let me correct it first. Yes, Aga, your chance.
Any kind of consciousness whatsoever, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, all consciousness should be seen as it really is with correct wisdom thus. This is not mine, this is I am not, this is not myself.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. The Buddha gave the same advice to 5 months to see the consciousness in the same way. Peter.
Seeing thus, bhikkhus, the instructed noble disciple experiences revulsion towards form, revulsion towards feelings, revulsion towards perception, revulsion towards volitional formations, revulsion towards consciousness.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Revulsion is the correct understanding, seen as it really is. Form is this, the feeling is this, perception is this, volitional formations are like that, and consciousness is it. They see as it really is, as they really are. The noble disciple, the wise person. And then next part is for Hiru.
Experiencing revulsion, he becomes dispassionate. Through dispassion, his mind is liberated. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge. It's liberated. He understands, destroyed his birth. The whole life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no more for the stay of being.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Understanding reality of these 5 aggregates of clinging. Experiencing revulsion means understanding the reality. He becomes dispassionate means he has no desire for them, desire for the body, feelings, or whatever. Through dispassion, his mind is liberated. That's how we get the liberation. Liberation comes from letting go. Understand? And what is liberated? There comes the knowledge. When he is liberated, he understands that I am liberated. Destroy the birth, or I have no birth. Holy life has been fully done, which means we have nothing to fulfill anymore under the guidance of the Buddha. There is no more for this state of being. which means the samsaric journey is ended up. Okay, the last part is for Savisha and Saveen. Yeah.
That is what the blessed one said. El because delighted in the blessed one's statement. And while this discourse was being spoken, the minds of the beggars of the group of five were liberated from the traits of non-clinging.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for the reading. The Buddha explained this beautiful sutta when he was explaining these 5 groups of monks. Kordanya, Vappa, Badya, Mahana, and Asaji, these 5 Bhantes were liberated by non-clinging. They were fortunate to understand the Four Noble Truths fully, which means they became arahants. They became arahants. Okay? We talked today the Anatma Lakkana Sutta about form, feelings, perception, volitional formations, and consciousness. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, and Vijnana. Letting go of desire, someone can get liberated. By collecting good merits, we will have this beautiful knowledge to understand the reality of these 5 aggregates of clinging in the future. I want you to make your minds faithful towards the wisdom of the Supreme Buddha, and that would lead you for the understanding fully. And this is what I share from the marvelous sage, this book, Acharya Manuso, the beautiful discourse, Anatma Lakkana Sutta, and may this wonderful good merit be dedicated to our teacher Bhante first. May our Loku Swamin Wahanse be well, happy, and be fortunate to fully understand the Noble Truth very soon. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May this merit be dedicated to all the Devas and give their support to these good people. May they also be fortunate to understand the Noble Truths. Sadhu, sadhu. May all of you and all of your parents, teachers, family, and friends, everyone be fortunate to understand the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu.